Welcome to our exploration of the journey of being a student parent at Montgomery College. I also bring a welcome from Dr. Monica Brown, our Senior Vice President for Student Affairs, who's been instrumental in bringing student-parent issues front and center at the college. She's a member of the Board of Directors at Generation Hope, and you're going to hear a lot more about that organization in just a few minutes. Dr. Brown deeply regrets she was not able to join us today. She had a prior commitment that she couldn't change. I'd like to start by telling you a little bit about Montgomery College's journey in becoming a student-parent-friendly college. Student parents are an often invisible population whose needs intersect with those of other vulnerable student populations, such as experiencing food and housing insecurity, or maybe they're the first in their families to attend college. We know national data tells us 1 in 5 students is a student parent, which can impact college enrollment and retention. And parents who complete their college education significantly increase the likelihood that their children will complete their college education. We see that here all the time. Dr. Brown began working with the Ascend program at the Aspen Institute to assess our existing supports and gaps, and she appointed Dr. Jabet Lozupone, Director of Student Affairs, to lead this effort. Dr. Lozupone developed the Ascend Parent Initiative Task Force, bringing together student parents with faculty and staff from departments across the college, with the charge of developing a vision plan to become a family-friendly, student-parent-friendly institution, and identifying student parents and collecting some data on them. We needed to find out who our student parents are and what they need, and amplify their voices through various platforms, social media, everything that we can, to share their experiences with the college community, and also create a central repository of college and community resources and a dedicated virtual space. We've partnered with Generation Hope to further actualize our vision plan and share with other colleges what we're doing on the same journey. Some of our accomplishments to date are developing a website for student parents, a college-wide student parent alliance, and collecting data that we'll share later today, and also improving our facilities, which includes 58 additional diaper changing stations college-wide in male, female, and family restrooms, additional Mamava, I always say that incorrectly, nursing stations at each campus, high chairs in our cafeterias, and improved signage and wayfinding, which we're still working on. So I'm going to share a little bit of our journey at Montgomery College to find our student parents so that we can ask them. That makes sense, right? Ask them what they need to manage college and life while you're going to college. There we go. So first I'll talk a little bit about our history. Now, years ago we had a question on our admission application that asked if students had children between the ages of 1 and 4. But it was only used to identify potential students for our child care centers at that time, and we eventually removed it from the application. So we didn't have a systematic way to identify student parents. So our Ascend data team spoke with representatives from other community colleges. We talked to Monroe Community College in New York, Amarillo Community College in Texas, and the College of Southern Maryland, and we were looking for best practices in identifying student parents. 2 things really stood out. Every presentation we would go to, everyone we spoke with. First of all, the free application for federal student aid, which I just love so much. The FAFSA is not a good tool for identifying student parents. Neither is your admission application. So why isn't the FAFSA a good tool? They identify dependents, right? Well, yes, but they use a certain definition of a legal dependent that eliminates many of our student parents, so we won't find them that way. Also, the admission application captures information at one point in time, but lives change. So if that's all you're using, you're going to miss a lot of student parents also. Now, Monroe Community College uses a registration survey. So a very quick survey. Every time students register, they would ask this question about, are you a student parent? It's optional, you don't have to answer it. But it needs some technology that we don't have right now to make it effective, and we're looking at those things. Other schools routinely ask their students to self-identify using various means. So we tried to figure out what's the best way for us to do this, and how do we incentivize our students to do it? How do we incentivize students to tell us that they're student parents? And how will that end up helping the students and their families? So until we can work out some of our technology challenges, our data committee developed a very simple questionnaire that we sent out to all enrolled students in fall semester 2021 and spring 2022. And we asked them to self-identify as student parents. It was really quick and easy. Our MC Foundation, the Montgomery College Foundation, secured some specific scholarships for student parents, which we hope will continue. And we highlighted that scholarship availability in our outreach, special workshops we were doing, events, and other opportunities, trying to, again, incentivize people to respond to the questionnaire. Then we used the list of identified students to conduct targeted outreach for our scholarship opportunities and other things that we were doing for student parents. We administered our first survey using that list in spring 2022. I'll talk more about that in a moment. And then this fall, we continued our outreach, and this message was included in our email blast that we sent to all students registered for the fall semester. And we've used the questionnaire. We've also reached out through our Ascend Student Parent webpage. And if you're a student parent and you haven't already signed up, you can go out to our webpage and you can sign up and just do the questionnaire. It's really, really quick and simple, and that puts you on our list. So that's one way right now that we're using to identify our student parents. So we did conduct our first survey in the spring of 2022. Had 15 questions, and we based it on successful student parent surveys from other schools. We used some questions from Monroe Community College. They do a fantastic job. We used questions at College of Southern Maryland as examples so that we could try to mold ours. And I really do need to thank very much Clary Brown, one of our research analysts in our Office of Institutional Research, for his survey analysis and all of his expertise. If you're going to do a survey and then try to figure out the results later, it really helps to ask an expert. And he had some very, very insightful comments about the results. And I'm not going to show the results of the full survey. We don't have time to do that, even though there were only 15 questions. But I'm going to give you some highlights. And you can see that 88% of the respondents had between 1 and 3 children. The majority don't consider themselves single parents, and in terms of employment, it really broke down by thirds. A third employed, a third working solely in the home, and then another third working part-time, or they're not working and not seeking it. And among those who do work outside the home, 73% are working 20 to 40 hours a week. That's a lot of hours to raise a family and also go to school at the same time. So we thought it was very interesting that 72% responded that online courses were their preferred modality. And we hear this more and more. Virtual appointments are often their preferred modality. I can fit that in with my schedule, and many of us that do virtual appointments with students, we've gotten used to kids and other family and dogs and cats and whatever in the background of the appointment. You just keep talking and you move on. So another piece that I don't have on the slide that was interesting, we're always saying, oh, students don't read email. Email's not a good method. 95% said Montgomery College email is their preferred mode of communication. They overwhelmingly preferred that to other things that we do, such as social media. We don't use a lot of text yet, but email is what they're depending on. We talked about their experience in the classroom, and I'm not going to go into all of it, but here were, again, some highlights. 60% have never talked to MC instructors or staff about the challenges of being a student parent. And this is something we really need to work on. We're not sure they know how to approach an instructor with a particular question. Some of their comments to that question were they don't think instructors or anyone else at MC will care about them as student parents, or they're not comfortable sharing details about their personal lives. They may not be able to find time to hold the discussions. Or, and this was even in the comments, they feel their problems are their own private crosses to bear. And something that our research analysts said that we really need to work on is building an environment where students feel they can open up to instructors, to others at the college, especially if they can't find time to hold the discussions or they just don't know how to approach it. He also said that this crosses to bear concept may be a cultural belief. It's kind of rooted in the American myth that asking for help is a sign of weakness. No, it isn't. It's smart. If you need help, you ask for help. And that's something that we need to try to do more. And focus groups could definitely shed more light on that particular aspect. The top 3 sought-after resources will not shock you: emergency grants, financial assistance, subsidies to help pay for childcare, or assistance finding quality childcare or after-school care. And again, in our research, Clary Brown said that if we had changed that statement to assistance finding affordable quality childcare or after-school care, the percentage would probably have been even higher. But the top 3 things were the trifecta, all related around financial support in some way. And they cited as the most helpful services or individuals, grants and financial aid, and I do like the last one, compassionate, accommodating instructors. And you might say, well, wait a minute, they said in the last comment they didn't think instructors or anyone really cared about what was going on with them or that they could approach them, but they valued the services of a compassionate, accommodating instructor. They're not mutually exclusive. If you're a student, you know when you find that one person who can help you and that cares, that just means so much to you. And when you read comments, they talk about that person over and over again. So everyone didn't say they were able to find help, and those that do, when they find it, it's like a nugget of gold. It's so important to them, and they really value getting that. So the other piece that we had in the survey was a final open-ended survey question, and that just captured the full gamut of student-parent experiences. The comments were very insightful. I want to highlight just one. A committee or advocacy group should consider outreach to student parents by way of survey each semester. This way, student parents are informed of advocacy on their behalf. Additionally, the voices of student parents may help to shape new or improve services for them and their dependents on campus. That was one that really jumped out. Now, on our data committee, we have one member, Yoslin Amaya Hernandez. She's a student advocacy coordinator with Generation Hope, and she is a member of our Ascend data team. She's also a Montgomery College graduate, yay, and a University of Maryland graduate. She was awarded a Generation Hope Our Campus, Our Voice grant, and she conducted student-parent focus groups this past year. And she'd be here today to share that information. But she had a new baby last week, a little girl, so she's home doing the things she needs to be doing, and I hope she's getting some rest and some sleep, because sleep is always the most important thing at that time. So her focus groups and our session today are directly addressing this student's comment, I think. We are trying to listen to the voices of our student parents, find out what they really need, not just what we think they need, and we'll administer our survey again in the spring of 2023. We'll conduct more focus groups so that we can continue to listen and learn.